Wow. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what day it is? It's Saturday. Half your weekend's over, but at least you're spending it in great company here on the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we're going to dive into another 2 hours commercial-free of paranormal goodness, right hot from the oven. And we're going to serve it up fresh right here. So I hope you guys are ready to dive in. I am not alone today. I am joined by Mr. Jimmy Cipriano, who is here with me to help hold down the lines. How you doing, Jimmy?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing fantastic.
You are fantastic, and I'm glad you could join us again. We've missed you.
I know. It's been a minute. I'm happy to be back. It's just been busy Saturdays in Michigan.
Yeah, it's only Michigan, of course. No,
I know. Believe it or not, they are busy occasionally in Michigan.
No, I'm sure they are. Everything going good?
Yeah. Just trying to survive we've got like 20 degrees one day, 70 degrees another day. So I'm trying to maintain hope that we'll see summer again over here.
You go from like shorts to parka to shorts to parka.
It literally is. I keep seeing people in tank tops. I'm like, stop tempting the fates. They're going to just start sending snow again.
Ooh, the ghost box said government. Ooh, that's a little spicy, ghost box.
That is right off the bat.
What do you mean by that? We don't get political here. Oh man, I know it's been really up and down here too as far as the temperature is concerned. We were like really down to grass and stuff, which is really rare for this neck of the woods. But then we've got about collectively in the last week we got about 8 inches of snow, but it's like snowed then melted, then snowed then melted. So I think we're on the final death throes of winter, God willing, and we can get on to shorts and t-shirts. Speaking of shirts, Jimmy, I got a bit of good news today.
Yes.
This shirt that I'm wearing is actually one that I used to use for performing when I was doing gigs in the band, and we would go to clubs and stuff. And I've had it all these years, and I can actually get it on again. So the diet is working, brother. Huh?
Nice. I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? It's just a little me moment, but I got to have those once in a while. So.
Absolutely.
We're going to be getting to the news, ladies and gentlemen, shortly here, and then we're going to get to the Discord question of the week, which I should probably open Discord. I had everything rebooted here, and I hadn't started everything up, so I'm going to open up Discord right now, and I suggest you do the same, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
So if you want to read them tonight, you can, or I can, whatever you want to do, but you're welcome.
Right. I love reading them.
You're welcome to do whatever it is you want to do, as long as it doesn't include you leaving.
Okay, perfect. If you guys can tolerate me reading out loud, I'm happy to do it.
Oh, excellent. I'm just waiting for it to open. Sometimes Discord, does that ever happen to you, Jimmy, where you like launch Discord and it just kind of disappears? It doesn't go anywhere? And,
yeah, I'm looking at like 15 updates right now, so that's usually my Discord.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll keep waiting on this and see what happens. I may have to do some task manager surgery here in just a bit, but I guess we can get to the news first and get the ball rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to be informed, to be updated on the happenings in the world around you? And some of it's paranormal. I think actually most of what I pulled up tonight is paranormal. Sometimes I just pull up interesting stories because I like a variety of things. But we can get to the news, I guess. Are you ready, Jimmy?
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the news. And I'm about to hit the wrong button. There we go. Yeah, you'd swear first time doing this. Hey, John. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I should put the screens on, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'll get to it. I'm adjusting. All right. Jimmy, your head's cut off all of a sudden. Did you sit up higher?
Oh,
No, it's okay. I can adjust the camera. I just wonder.
Okay. I can sit lower too.
No. Wherever you're most comfortable, brother. Wherever you're most comfortable. Let me just adjust this so we're not like cutting off your forehead here. I will do this right now. There we go. Now you're all on screen. I'm going to just diminish this bottom. Look at that. Framed like a pro.
Lovely.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk, where we dive into all of the news that I can manage to scrounge up for you. We got 4 articles today, and hopefully they're all wonderful articles, and you find them interesting and informative. So let's see how I did. The first article up for grabs tonight here on the Paranormal Portal News is from an amazing site that I can't encourage you enough to check out, support, get involved over there. And it is, and this goes for all the sites that we use during the course of the show. They're all amazing sites, and it's really incumbent upon all of you to keep those sites going. And the way you do that is by visiting them. Therefore, any ads that they have on there will generate revenue based on impressions. So you can help keep the lights on all these amazing sites by visiting them. I will put some of the links in the chat so that if you want to check it out or learn more, like if it's a really long article, you can do so. And then by all means, peruse the rest of the site. It's pretty amazing. So unexplained-mysteries.com brings us the first story tonight and all the subsequent stories too. Sorry, had a nose thing going on there. Almost played the nose flute for you guys. You don't want to hear that. You can't unhear that, I'm telling you. All right, so the first one is from the science and technology section. And this is some bizarre stuff having to do with some clouds. And NASA highlights mystery of UFO-like cavum clouds. Jimmy, you ever heard of cavum clouds? I
have not. Do tell.
Well, let me tell you, Jimmy. Let's get right into it. All right. So this is from satellite images, and they're talking about how did you say it? Cavum. And there's pictures to I guess reinforce it. I don't know. Let's see what it says. The phenomena, which looks like someone has punched holes in the cloud cover. Cover. There's a lot of V's in this article. Cavum and cover. All right. Had puzzled scientists for decades. Back in January 30th, the MODIS, Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer. All right, that was a lot of letters altogether. It's like somebody spilled a Scrabble board. An instrument on NASA's Terra satellite captured an image above right of an intriguing atmospheric phenomena over the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Florida. From above, it looks almost as though someone had punched holes in the cloud cover, while from below, the phenomena manifests as large saucer-shaped formations. I mean, just because they're circular holes in the cloud doesn't mean they're saucer-shaped, right?
They're circular, they're saucer. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. I think a saucer is a 3-dimensional. Anyway, formations with additional wisps of cloud inside them. It comes as no surprise that these unusual formations known as cavum or hole punch clouds, well, I like the last word better, the last description. They're called hole punch clouds. They must have sat around the boardroom all night thinking of that, huh?
Oh, yeah. They probably threw out all the bad names and circled back to that one.
Have produced quite a few UFO sighting reports over the years. They are so peculiar, in fact, that for several decades, scientists had struggled to explain what could be producing them. It wasn't until relatively recently, around 2010, that the mystery of cavum clouds was finally solved. It turns out that these strange circles are created when planes fly through altocumulus clouds. As air moves around the wings and past the propellers, what kind of planes are flying through them? I mean, there is propeller planes, of course, but I think more commonly they're jets of airplanes. It processes a process known as, oh God, this is full of words I don't like. Adiabatic expansion cools the water by an additional 20 degrees centigrade or more and can push liquid water droplets to the point of freezing without the help of airborne particles, NASA explains on its website. Ice crystals beget more ice crystals as the liquid droplets continue to freeze. The ice crystals eventually grow heavy enough that they begin to fall out of the sky, leaving a void in the cloud layer. Well, there you go, Jimmy. How do you feel now that you know that, Jimmy?
I feel like let's not rule out aliens.
Let's not, because if you look at the first image here, it's like, yeah, there's a cave opening, but if you look in the middle, it looks like there's a line of like a chemtrail or something. I don't know.
Yeah, seems like they gave too much information for me to just think it's what they said.
Yeah. Well, you heard about all that flooding in the LA and in California, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so there's a new term that nobody's ever heard of before that they suddenly came up with, and it's called an atmospheric stream.
Okay.
I think that's what they called it, and everybody's like, we've never heard of this before. So they create a new buzzword to make it, oh no, it's just an atmospheric stream. Oh, is that all it is? Okay, well that still doesn't.
You put it that way.
That still doesn't unsink my car and my house, but yeah, it's never happened before, but now it's an atmospheric stream, I guess, and which is apparently funneling all these storms right through that area, and it's just crazy. I don't know. I mean, I don't pretend to be a meteorologist or even a scientist by any measure. Obviously, I'm just an idiot with a microphone, but I've never heard of that before. I never remember turning on the news and hearing about the atmospheric streams that are, causing flooding. It's kind of like every year it was like El Nino year. And I was like, I don't think that's the way it works, is it?
Yeah, every couple of years. Yeah,
Yeah.
not every year.
Yeah, well, there you go. El Nino. And that, yeah, it was like,
All right.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. Now you know about cavum clouds. You might not have known that before, but you're welcome. I'm just trying to keep the ball moving. Keep that knowledge base growing. All right, let's get to the next one. Now that we know what cavum clouds are, find out what else we're going to learn tonight, because there's more. And this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one is, oh yeah, here we go. It's more of a follow-up. We've kind of covered these stories as they were developing, so in a proper news form. I'm giving you an update. Well, here it is. Mystery spy balloon debris recovered by fishermen off the coast of Alaska. Well, there you go. Mystery spy balloon debris. I imagine they got to pop somewhere, though, right? I mean, if they're like, if it's even colleges sending up weather balloons, they're gonna come down somewhere. But this says spy balloon, so let's see what it says. A fishing crew has reportedly recovered what is thought to be the remains of another spy balloon in the waters off Alaska. Only a week after NORAD dispatched fighter jets to intercept a mystery high-altitude balloon over Utah, or otherwise known as Utah, and a year after the Chinese spy balloon was shot down on the coast of South Carolina, reports have suggested that another spy balloon has been found, and this time in the sea off the coast of Alaska. This one didn't make it, Jimmy.
Not very far now.
No. Must have been made in China. Sorry,
I'm so glad you had that sound effect.
that's just the low-hanging fruit. It's like everything's made in China, and usually it's junk. But there you go. That's my cheap joke for the newscast. It says the incident began when a commercial fishing crew pulled what they believed to be the remains of a high-altitude balloon from the water and sent photographs of it to the authorities for verification. It's understood that FBI agents will meet the crew once they return to shore sometime this weekend and transport the debris to the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia, for analysis. Wow, that's some VIP travel there for a weather balloon, right?
Seriously, yeah, all the way from Alaska.
Yeah, that's got to be spendy. We are aware of the debris found off the coast of Alaska by a commercial fishing vessel, the agency said in a statement, and we will work with our partners to assist with the logistics of the debris recovery. While it isn't currently clear whether or not the debris is actually that of a spy balloon, the description and photographs seem to strongly suggest that it is. If this does turn out to be the case, it could further erode international relationships between the U.S. and its rivals, especially China. If the weather balloon,
China.
right? Yeah. If the weather balloon turns out to be from there, you just look for the stamp. It's on everything. If it says made in China,
A little gold sticker at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, they can't hide that stuff. Given that the events of last year, we know that China has been running a high-altitude surveillance operation over North America. And it would certainly come as no surprise if this latest balloon if it does turn out to be one, was sent by the Chinese. Oof, that's kind of a loaded topic, eh?
It is. I heard a dun dun when you said that.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, exactly. I don't have that sound effect, Jimmy.
I'll find it. I will find it and send it.
Okay, please do. I'm going to put the link to that in the chats if you guys want to check out that article or watch the included ABC News video. You certainly can do that. But that's pretty bizarre, man. I don't know. But I'm glad that one didn't make it. I wonder why it popped. It was faulty. It was faulty. All right, let's get to the next article because we got two more, folks. This news is just going to keep coming at you for two more articles. And next up in the news, another article from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this has to do with ghosts and hauntings. And it's a new video game, apparently. Whoa, that went big screen. Didn't mean for that to happen. Let's get this readjusted. All right, so this is having to do with a video game being announced, and I might have to get this one and actually play it on stream. That would be kind of fun. We've never done that on this channel before.
Absolutely.
But this might be
Twitch
a
on
good
there?
I'm sorry?
Could you do you Twitch at all?
Yeah, we're doing Twitch right now. We're doing YouTube and Twitch.
Nice.
Yeah, so we could stream it right onto Twitch. Fit right in. All right, here it is, folks. The new video game coming out is based on the Paranormal Activity movie franchise. It's been announced. There you go. I've not seen the movies, but I know the backstories that they're based on. But that's very interesting.
They're they came out when I was like in probably middle school. They started coming out. Those used to scare the bejesus out of me.
You know, my first horror movie experience, like truly horror movie, like I was into the old Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney, Bela Lugosi movies like crazy. I love those old black and white ones. And I'd seen those for years and years, but my first real horror movie experience was watching the TV version of The Exorcist. I think I slept with my mom for a week after that. I was just like...
Absolutely. That movie was terrifying.
Yeah, it was horrifying. Even the made-for-TV version of it. Like I don't know how old I was. I was, maybe 8, 9, 10. I don't know. But I'm sitting there looking at the TV. And it's when she's all rotten-faced and stuff, and then her head spins around. And I was like, gone.
Yep.
That was it. That's as far as...
Yeah, that one stuck with me.
Yeah. I still see that in my head as clear as day. And it's like horrifying. So, that was my first. I haven't seen the Paranormal... I don't generally watch horror movies and stuff, and especially the based on true events movies, because the artistic license they take with based on true is almost disgusting. And the big example I give, Jimmy, is Cocaine Bear.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
The actual story is the bear ate some cocaine in a duffel bag that fell out of a plane and then made it about 100 yards and died.
And Ray Liotta was never even in the original.
No, yeah, exactly. Ray wasn't there, and apparently the bear wasn't on a coke spree. It was just it was a one-stop deal.
Overdosed.
Yeah, he went right.
Lightweight.
He wasn't prepared for that much coke. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the real story and how it became this based on true story Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
It's like the
Paranormal Activities. I remember that when those came out, those were like some of the first, because I'd seen a couple found footage movies like Cloverfield, but Paranormal Activity was like, I think the first found footage horror movie I'd ever seen. So it was just, I was also younger, but
sure, that
movie terrified me when it came out. I watched it in a theater. I was losing my mind.
It's in a really big screen.
Yeah, I was like, so somebody just recorded this at their house?
How did they make it so that it would work on a big screen? It's amazing.
Never did it cross my mind, why are they recording it? That never came into play.
Why not? Yeah, exactly. They were probably TikTokers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, well, let's read this article and see what this new game's all about. It says, the hit found footage movie series, which began 17 years ago, saw its 7th entry released back in 2021. When the original Paranormal Activity hit cinemas all the way back in 2007, few could have predicted that it would go on to spawn an entire franchise of 7 movies, and counting, as well as video games, comic books, and more. The first movie centered around a young couple, Katie and Micah, who were stalked by a demonic entity after moving into a new house in California. The movie's various sequels continued to build upon the events of the original, with the 7th entry in the franchise, Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, releasing on streaming during the pandemic in 2021. The franchise spawned a number of video games as well, including mobile game Paranormal Activity Sanctuary, which was released in 2011, and Paranormal Activity The Lost Soul, and a virtual reality game that was released on PC and other platforms in 2017. Now, following an announcement by designer Brian Clark and Darkstone Digital, a third game based on the franchise is currently in the works for release sometime in 2026. Well, we're going to have to wait on that stream, folks, unless a beta comes out. Named simply Paranormal Activity, at least for now, the game was revealed in a new trailer, view below, and while details are rather thin on the ground right now, it should be interesting to see how this one shapes up over the next couple of years. The success of the Paranormal Activity franchise epitomizes the power and reach of the horror genre, Clark told GameSpot. If you thought Mortuary Assistant, Clark's previous game, was scary, we're talking what we learned during the development of that title and cranking it up with a more reactive and horrifying haunting system is going to be intense. Well, you got me convinced. I'm just not real excited about 2-year wait, but there you go, yeah. Jimmy. I'll put the link in the chat if anybody wants to watch that trailer. You can certainly do that. Yeah, I mean, I like that idea of actually finding games like that and possibly, playing them on stream. That would be fun. I've never done that before.
Horror games are, honestly, they're scarier for me than horror movies because they're just so interactive and you really feel like if you turn the lights off and you're really into it, you're in the world.
I played one on VR. Actually, my friend Chris Gio had one of the first VRs that I'd ever heard of, and it's one with the wires and stuff, and it's connected to a laptop. But he had, and maybe it was one of these Paranormal Activities. I don't remember what the name of it was, but you have to go in this house and kind of figure out the clues, and meanwhile you're being stalked by this big dark demon entity, and I mean it was interesting. But he tried to jump scare me while I was doing it because it's like in VR, so everywhere you look. And
that is a true friend right there.
That's a gem right there. But I really was never that invested in it being like I was really there. And I don't know if it's just because I've actually investigated and maybe it wasn't real enough or whatever. But I also found that in a lot of ways it was kind of predictable. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't experience that big terror, but it was really neat. It was really beautifully done and it was fun. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Minion has an Oculus 2, and that's really cool. Oh, yeah. I've played with that a little bit, but it's usually recharging because he's a fiend for video games.
Yeah.
So that's fun. You ever played the VR, Jimmy?
I have, yeah. My thing with VR is I always get into it, but I think I've watched too many videos of people just running into stuff and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to suspend my disbelief because I'm like, if someone's recording this, I can't be that person on the internet.
It might go viral, Jimmy. It might be your gateway to some big numbers.
That's what I'm worried about.
Well, yeah. You see those guys smashing their TVs and stuff. It's like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be a 30-year-old runs down his own staircase.
Yeah, that'll keep you young at heart, won't it? Keep you broken.
Yeah, not my back.
Yeah. Ooh, my back. All right. That's that article. I think I got one more here. And then we'll cruise on to the next thing on our banquet of fun here on the portal. And this one is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. This is also having to do with spirituality. And I thought this was interesting because it's kind of unique, but it does show the mind over matter kind of thing. And I think that's powerful. I think that generally speaking, we're capable of pretty incredible things. We just are so conditioned by living a life of comfort that we don't normally push our boundaries enough, or maybe we just don't have to. And these things kind of remind you of, look, you have all kinds of innate ability within you. And this is kind of a cool story. I haven't read it. I just saw the headline, but I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool. So let's get to it. And this is unexplained-mysteries.com brings us viral video shows Yogi in deep meditation during heavy snowstorm. Oof, that makes me cold just looking at it, Jimmy.
Yeah, I've seen this one. This one's awesome.
No doubt. Wow. That dude looks like a mummy. You know, like there I think there's somewhere in Peru where there's this 2,000-year-old mummy just kind of sitting on the side of the road, and it's been frozen in time and it's just sitting there. And while he has skin and that guy really didn't, it's basically the same pose. Let's see what it says. The footage, which sparked some intense debate online over its authenticity, appears to be the real deal. When a video emerged recently of an India yogi meditating in a blizzard, social media users were quick to dismiss the entire thing as an AI-generated hoax. Well, that's going to go for everything now, isn't it? Everything's going to be AI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it says, according to reports, however, the footage is actually genuine. Filmed earlier this month in the Suraj Valley region of India's Kulu district, the clip shows Satyendra Nath, a yogi, who's been associated with the Kaulantak Peath spiritual organization for several years. On this particular occasion, two of his disciples who had gone out to find him due to the extreme weather had found him sitting there, motionless as the snow built up on top of him. When we went to speak to Satyendra Nath, we found him in a state of deep meditation in the snow-capped mountains, said one disciple, Rahul. So we decided to record this video. According to his other disciples, Savarnanath, Nath was practicing Agni Yoga at the time. He's been practicing meditation in the snow-capped mountains since the past 22 years, he said. You can check out the video for yourself below. Well, I guess we could. We could look at it. I just want to see what this looks like. There you go. Oof. All right, I'm going to take off the sound because that's just obnoxious. Nothing like wind in a microphone. Look at that.
Look at his arms.
I know they're red. They got to be windburned, right?
Absolutely. I just don't understand. Like, I get mind over matter, but I don't understand how frostbite doesn't come into play at all here.
Look at it. He's got like no body fat too. So that guy he's working on just the power of the mind, man. Because there's no way his clothing or his body is insulating him at all.
I mean, look, my mind is weak because I go outside in this kind of weather and my mustache freezes and I go right back inside.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean,
the whole side of his head is frozen.
Yeah. That is wild. And obviously his arms are warm enough that they're melting the snow. It's not like his temperature has dropped to such a point that, it's getting frostbite. I mean, he's still got enough heat. I don't know. I wish they would have gone all the way around him so you could see the other side too. But
and the video's like a minute, so maybe off screen there's like a hot tub right behind him.
Yeah. They don't show the heating pad he's sitting on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think that's incredible. I don't doubt that this could very well be legitimate. Could it be fake? Sure. I mean, you could make up this guy up and sit him out for a minute, and he's just got to sit there and deal with it, and dust him up with snow to make it look good. But I don't know. I mean, even where go ahead.
The intern, they're like, you got to go out there, buddy. Sorry, you're new here. You got to do the video this week.
Yeah, they did the straw draw. You got the short one, Jimmy. You're the snow guy. Well, I don't know. That's pretty incredible stuff, though, folks. Yeah, I think that's really, really cool. I love that they took the time to record the video. But even if you look where he's sitting, the snow is actually drifted up onto his onto his clothing, and around him there's that gap from the wind whipping around him, creating that low point underneath him. So I mean, it looks legitimate. It really does. That's insane. Very, very cool. So what are we capable of? Yeah, I think a lot. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think at least this is wild.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching a TV show way back in the day called That's Incredible. And I think they had this Yogi climb into like a foot and a half by foot and a half cube, like an acrylic cube. I don't know how he did it, but man, that guy got in there and he was just like a box of flesh. And I don't know. That just seemed amazing to me. Now, he might have been really small and that was maybe not as big a deal, but to me it was huge. It's like, how's he getting into that little tiny box? But he
Yeah,
did it.
this is some yeah, it's David Blaine level feat we're seeing.
Yeah. Next, David Blaine will go out there nude and do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna do this nude for one more minute than this guy.
Yeah. Filmed on soundstage in LA. I don't know, man. That's pretty cool though. I don't know. I hope you guys like that. That's just something a little different. And we love the different here in the Paranormal Portal. So I hope you guys found that all interesting and informative and exciting and refreshing. And you're welcome. But that's it. That's all I got for you for the news. So let's get back to the rest of the show. I wish I was filming this, Jimmy.
That's what I do. That's
Yeah, you do that stuff during the breaks, but nobody can see you. Diabolical.
Just tell everyone I'm an excellent dancer.
Jimmy was doing some disco, folks. You missed it. Kind of disco. I don't know. What the hell would you call that dance, Jimmy?
I don't know. I can only ever do it right on rollerblades.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you got to do it around those cups then, too, on your rollerblades.
Yeah.
The disco blades. All right, folks. Welcome back from the news. We got a lot more to cover. I still don't have Discord open here. What the hell is... I got to do task manager surgery here quick. I don't know why that's such a brick to start up. If it's open, it's fine. And once it's opened, it's good. But I don't know what the hell the problem is. I got to end task on some of these. Enjoy Discord without interruption. Well, I don't care about that. My antivirus likes to tell me things that I don't really need to know. All right, let's continue. I think maybe that was it.
Clearly.
Thank you, Ghostbox. Said clearly.
Government and clearly, that's what we're working with.
Yeah, I think I'm being patronized by the Ghostbox. Yeah. Thank you for that. All right, let me drop this down and relaunch and cross your fingers, folks. Otherwise, Jimmy will just have to read it and you'll have to... Oh, there it goes. It's actually launching this time. Yep. Crisis averted. Now we just got to wait for it. And... disappeared.
I can read it, but I struggle with anything that doesn't have pictures, so...
Well, there you go. We'll write the next ones in crayon for you.
Thank you. If it's a pop-up, I got it.
That's right. We'll make them in cartoon for you. Yeah, it did launch and then it disappeared. What in the fat hell is going on here? Huh. I know I got a lot of crap running on this computer, and that's probably a good segment of my problem, but usually things actually work.
You have a lot of tabs open.
Dude, you wouldn't believe the number of tabs I have. I have like literally 1, 2, 3, 4 browser windows open with about 15 tabs on each, or some of them.
Yep.
Some of them have like 28 tabs. So, because honestly, doing these shows, I find things in the interim and I pull it up and, on whichever relevant browser. Like when I'm doing articles, I generally use the Brave browser because it blocks a lot of the garbage, that obfuscate the actual article. And, it's, so I always have that one loaded and going. And then I got, several other versions launched and rolling for different purposes. Why in the hell aren't you showing up? Maybe I should click it again and see if anything, there it is. Now, it's open. Okay, good. It was like it opened, but it wasn't visible. And then when I clicked it, it was visible. Okay, we're in business, Jimmy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get to the Discord question of the week. Sorry for the rookie hour here, but we're figuring it out. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Discord question of the week, where we cover at least a question that's posed to our Discord group. And if you'd like to be a member of Discord, by all means, we'd love to have you over there. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you're welcome to join if you want to get involved in the conversations, because we love to have more people over there. And I got to spell out the name of my show, and there we go. So in the chats is the Discord link to join, and we'd love to have you over there. Now, this segment is unique. It's an opportunity that we ask our Discord community members a question dealing with the paranormal. Could be cryptids, could be ghosts, could be UFOs, could be strange phenomena, could be anything in the mix. But it's our opportunity to hear from you what your thoughts on the phenomena are. And this has been championed by Chucky Danger, who's been an absolute superstar. I did drop the link, Dave. David Cipriano's in here.
Yeah, you don't have to respond to him.
Oh, yes, I do. I respond to all. Even if they're related to you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
But we'd love to have you in there and participate and give us your take on these questions, as well as join in the conversations. We've got a bunch of incredible stuff going on over there. This is our Discord community, as you see. And when you join, we'll get a little notification here. Everybody will say hi to you, because we're a loving, inclusive group. And is this right? Yeah, no, I was on the wrong one. Oops. But I'm just looking to see if anyone's joined since the last time I opened it. Everyone's still time to answer the question of the week before tonight's show. Chucky's pushing it. But special thanks to Chucky Danger for keeping this ball rolling. He's been doing some amazing questions, and we really appreciate his efforts to help out the whole of our Discord community and the live shows. So, without further ado, we're going to get to the Discord question of the week, which is right here. And take it away, Jimmy.
All right. Chucky Danger, we got question of the week. It is a well-known idea that living humans can get spiritual attachments. However, do you think it's possible that those attachments can persist into the afterlife, and that is why some human ghosts may linger here and not cross over? Excellent question, as always, Chucky.
Yeah.
We got Arc Blaster. I 100% believe this. Some really crazy stuff I'm not ready to talk about happened to my grandma.
Oh my God. Did we, what the hell happened? I lost Jimmy. I lost Zoom. That's crazy. What in the hell just happened? Yeah, Zoom dumped on us, folks. I have no idea why. We're going to get Jimmy back in just a second here. Let me go back to this screen while I sort this out. I have no idea what's going on. That has never happened before. Huh. That's crazy. I mean, I don't have anything new going on that on this computer than I've had going on every other show. Why the hell did Discord or Zoom just, boom, it's just dropped. So I can't even open a new meeting. What the hell's going on? I might have to kill the Zoom. It's not doing anything. Let me see if I click close. There it goes. Something went wrong. Try reloading. Yeah, we will. We will. Do we have internet? Am I talking to you guys? Are you guys hearing me? Let me test the chat. Are you guys hearing me? I have no idea what's going on. Discord just went down too. What the hell is going on? Oops. Oh my God. I have no idea what's going on. Everything's dead. Everything died. Discord died. Zoom died. Oh my God. It still says we're streaming. No dropped frames. What in the hell is up? Unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. What in the hell is going on? I don't know what's going on. You guys can still see and hear me. Okay. Well, that's good. What in the hell is going on? My chat is dead. Everything's dead. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it looks like YouTube is down on my back end. It looks like Discord did die, as did Zoom. I mean, my God, what's going on? Let me just pull up and see if my browser's still connecting. Oh, Zoom's coming back. Are you there, Jimmy?
Oh no! Can you guys not hear me?
None of that did we hear. We lost everything.
Oh no! Well, I went back to my acoustic podcasting then, because this is usually how it is when I'm not on the podcast. I'm just reading out loud in my office.
It's like, why is Brent being so quiet? Yeah.
Oh my God! Hey, where did we lose all of it?
We basically got your first disc. I mean, I lost Discord. I lost Zoom for a minute. Everything just died. It's the weirdest damn thing. The fact that it came back is actually shocking to me. Because I closed Zoom, and it's like all of a sudden pop your back. It's like
literally, if I'm on a phone call with someone and this happens and they drop off, I will go for 45 minutes talking to myself before I even realize. So this is on par for me.
Wow, this is really, really unusual. I don't know what the hell this is. This is
the
new.
ghost box. They were warning us. It was the government.
Yeah, it said government, and then clearly, apparently, Big Brother doesn't like this show much.
Yeah, we're getting a little too close to the truth here.
I don't think we're probably threatening too many people with our truth, Jimmy.
You want me to? I can start from the top again if you lost it.
let me just see if I can relaunch Discord, because that died on me as well. Unless
okay, no problem.
That didn't jump back. For some reason, Zoom did though, and I don't know why. Everything was gone, and I actually closed the app, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're back and talking. It's like.
There you go. They asked if I could see that. I can see the chat, but I was reading for a very long time, so I'm not talented enough to read both at the same time.
All right, let me see if Discord's going to open. My God, that was weird. That's the first time that's ever happened, ever. Now, I will say that I'm not real familiar with Zoom. I use it a lot on the podcast to record interviews. It just works really well. There's less latency, and the sound quality is really good, but for Discord and Zoom to just boom, they were done. It was just gone. I'm actually kind of tripping.
I only know Zoom from an office setting, so I know how to mute myself, and that's about it. Yeah, pretend my camera dropped.
Yeah, well, it was, you were just gone. It was just like you were like, hey, and then I'm like, why did Jimmy stop? And then I look over and you're gone. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know what the hell's going on. Really, really weird. That is the kind of weirdness that kind of happens here on the portal. And I don't know if it's by virtue of doing a paranormal show that sometimes we get some paranormal garbage happening or what. I don't know. It's confusing. It's really confusing. All right, let me see. Open. Yeah, I double clicked and it opened right back up. It died before. I don't know. This is very strange. I got ghosts in the machine tonight, Jimmy. Let's take it from after what Arc Blaster said. Right under Chucky's. I guess we're back in business, folks.
Okay, so you want me to read Chucky's again just to it's a well-known idea that living humans can get.
Let's refresh all our memories here, because I'm all verklempt here. Oy vey. All right.
Question of the week. Chucky Danger. Shout out. It is a well-known idea that living humans can get spiritual attachments. However, do you think it is possible that those attachments can persist into the afterlife, and that is why some human ghosts may linger here and not cross over? My humble opinion is definitely, I believe, that I think unfinished business is 100% the reason people stick around.
Sure.
Or, actually, you guys will find out in a second, because I already read this. Somebody has also an opinion I agree with.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Marie, my personal opinion is that yes, they probably can persist into the afterlife, and could very well be why some hauntings are not so nice. Perhaps it's some kind of battle that we don't fully see when things get knocked off tables and counters and doors getting flung open. Perhaps it's a physical fight in another realm that most of us cannot see. Would bring a whole new meaning to fighting one's demons for sure. Yeah, and I said I couldn't remember the Nicole Kidman movie, but I still can't.
The Others?
The others, yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100% what I think is going on. I feel like if ghosts aren't aware, they just have no idea why we're in their house.
Yeah.
So it's probably as jarring and confusing for them as it is for us, is what I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We got Paradox Fossils 333. I become aware of the fact that we all have attachments and the other side is also here and many other places. Heaven and hell is all around us.
Oh, good
Um,
point.
yeah, definitely. I think that. I think that even if we don't have spiritual attachments in this life, you got to think if you believe in past lives, maybe you got some business lingering from that if you were really bad or really good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You might have good attachments. That's not a bad
Yeah.
thing. That's true.
Uh, Ash Hermit, if living things have a spirit that can exist outside of our immediate reality, I wouldn't be surprised if attachments are connected to the spirit, not just the physical being. It could also be a piece of the puzzle as to why some spirits seem trapped in one location and others aren't. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great thoughts.
Um,
Yeah.
yep. Android Paranormal, I've thought of this from a personal perspective recently. If I was to pass away tomorrow, then would I feel the need to stick around? Part of me feels yes, and part of me also feels no. Because when your life is cut severely short and there are still many things you want to do, or still many family and friends you don't want to leave, then I can totally understand why many spirits might attach to a location or a person. Although it makes me wonder if there if there are a consequence to these spirits by choosing to stay here on Earth instead of going to the light with
Mm,
many near-death experiences report. Does that light go away after a certain time and will it leave them stuck here? Or is that light there for an eternity whenever they're emotionally ready to go into the light?
that's a brilliant question.
It is, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I'd like to think is that if you've got unfinished business, there's no deadline. You can just kind of do it whenever. I mean, I guess until the sun burns out, but you got time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it makes sense to me why some spirits would choose to stick around to watch over loved ones or to just enjoy the house that they love for many years. That's a great point. I put a lot of time into my house and I would not like to, I'd like to make sure somebody else isn't messing it up after I leave.
I'm pretty sure you're imprinted on that place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Between the stress, yeah, definitely. Like you're covering up my wood floors with carpet.
The hell's wrong with you? Enjoy this vase. Smack.
Then maybe they do move on from the attachment eventually, whether it's a year later or 1,000 years later. So maybe that explains why we don't ever see reports of seeing ancient human ghosts. They've all moved on to the light over the thousands of years. That's a crazy thought too, because I mean, time and the world is going to change so much that I mean, I guess eventually, if you have like a caveman's unfinished business is going to be obsolete at some point.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Yeah, unless it's like, start a fire, then I think that's only going to get easier with time.
Or when Grog, the neighbor, drags away the wife, it's like, don't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Um, Rachel 101 said, I think it's possible there can be a need to connect more with the living after death if one has only a few connections or one specifically.
Hmm.
If one has led an isolated life but needs to be around the few they had known in life, that's a good point. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and then Dave Sipp said, "What constitutes unfinished business? It's actually 10:51 here, just saying." Okay, I don't know what the bottom part had.
What unfinished business you got, Dave?
Yeah, Dave, what are you up to?
What are we keeping you from?
He's got a
Ah,
couple deadlines he's missing at work.
little window into the soul here. This
Yeah.
is a great question. Getting to the ancient spirits, there are people that still investigate some of the ancient ruins, and they still say that there's apparitions visible from time to time. There's presences, So I don't know, like even like Pompeii, there's apparently still active, I don't know, entities around there, and I don't know if those imprints. I'm not always so sure that all of the hauntings are. I don't want to say conscious, but like it's maybe a fragment of a person that did live. Not be, okay. I'm going to get a little philosophical here, if you guys don't mind. But and I've shared this on the show, so any of the long time listeners are going to be familiar with this. But I think that we're alive by virtue of having a divine spark, whatever that means to you, however you define that. But from this universal life, we sprang forth by virtue of having a part of that universal life or being connected to it. Now, it occurs to me, and I don't know if this is fair or not, it's just an idea. It's just a theory of mine. So please, if it sounds stupid to you, just disregard it, like a lot of the things I say. But it occurs to me that, when we pass, what is divine will certainly transcend back to the divine source. But what isn't probably is like fragmented from us. And that's some of the things that linger. Now, I think by virtue of them still being connected to the universe, that they may actually have consciousness, but there may be just a piece, like when you get that really pissed off ghost. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say, it's just a pissed off ghost, and it's going to remain that way. Well, I mean, even a crabby person has good days, but sometimes some of these things are so dark and so horrible. And I'm not saying demonic. I'm not saying like everything's a demon, like that's epidemic in the paranormal worlds. But I think that maybe some of these fragments of people that couldn't transcend and couldn't move into the divine light because they're not divine in nature. They're, so maybe they have a consciousness and so they become part of this realm. Just a thought. I don't know. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
I think that is absolutely something that I've thought of a lot of times. I think that part of you can leave, definitely, and I think that the part that sticks around might not exactly be the whole part of you.
Right.
The thing that I kind of go back to is, you ever see Haunting of Hill House? They do a good example of this.
I don't think I have. I'm not sure.
I'll do this with as few spoilers as possible. Spoiler alert, possibly. There's a ghost that sticks around. She's got unfinished business, I think, and she sticks around for just, I think, a couple hundred years. And they start at the beginning, and she's a person. She's kind of like walking around, doing her thing, trying to get her business back together. But then over time, she just, turns less and less into a person. She loses her features. She forgets what she looks like. She starts becoming less human, all that stuff, until eventually she's just, the only thing she's got left is just her anger, which is the base of why she stuck around in the first place. So it's like, if you've been here for 1,000 years, can you really remember? I mean, you've been here 1,000 years as a ghost. Can you really remember what it was like to be a human being?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And the reason you're here is that you were pissed. And maybe if that's the only reason you're here, maybe that's the only thing you can think of.
Yeah. No, that's true. And the other thing I think of is okay, so say you do linger. Now, if you took a person and essentially, I don't know that spirits are always aware of other spirits or not. I mean, I assume they probably are to a degree, but let's say you're just kind of isolated and you're secluded. How long before that mental process degrades? Kind of what you're getting to. It's like, can ghosts go insane? Can these spirits, this conscious energy that is them, just progressively go insane? And then what? I mean, my God. So
and that's the thing too, is like, it's not like you've got a physical body, a physical mind. So I don't think, when I think about it, I don't think they're like learning and really progressing. I think they have a goal. And if you're not achieving that goal, what's left of you as a human is just kind of being chiseled away.
Right. Yeah, that may be fair enough. And then there's things that were never human. I'm confident that we are surrounded by an ocean of things that we perceive as spiritual, but perhaps are just, a different phase of reality than us. And so they seem ghost-like. I just did a podcast episode with Mike Ricksecker, and he's an alumni of Ancient Aliens and a dozen other shows, and just a really interesting guy, and he's got a new book out. So watch for that new podcast episode. But just to give a little bit of a spoiler, he does have a theory of stacked time, which means, and it's basically what I've been talking about with what I think is called non-Euclidean space-time, that all time from the dawn of the universe to the final contraction of it, the expansion, the dawn, the expansion to the final contraction or implosion of it, is all happening in this one infinite now, that everything that was and what will be is already there. And maybe it's like we move through awareness and
wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Got wonderful.
Oh, that's a solid point you're making.
I'm glad you're on board. Thank you. But he's and he and I discussed it, and we did come upon those moments when, and it was mentioned in one of the comments where like the ghosts see the people and the people see the ghosts, but both are afraid. It's like the ghosts are maybe just some other timeline somehow bleeding through. And so we're the ghost to them, they're the ghost to us, and they're both like, and it becomes this weird melding of these timelines just for moments. And I thought that was fascinating, and it was a great discussion. So that's 2 in a row from the box that were very relevant responses. You're right, Android.
Definitely, yeah.
Clearly and wonderful. Well, I think that's great. Thank you, Ghostbox. Whomever you are, you're welcome to take part in the conversation. However, don't be dark and evil. That's not allowed here. I'm just saying. Brent, yes, the timeline are all converging as we speak, Ruthie says. Yeah, that could be. Ghosts can bleed? I don't know if they bleed. I don't know.
Mentally, yes.
Yeah, they're mentally bleeding all over. And the other question is how many hauntings are actually perhaps similar to the poltergeist projection, which is believed to be generated by a living person, usually a pubescent or prepubescent girl, most commonly, and they're very potent experiences, but they're usually very short-lived. But what if that same phenomena, those same mechanics could be generating spiritual experiences of ghost-like activity? But yet it's coming, maybe it's being manifest by fear or some unresolved emotion in the person that's experiencing them the most, or a family of people,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So great thoughts, everybody. I love what you guys bring to the table every time. It's awesome. And I just want to say hello to Mr. Misto, joined the Discord, as did Dave Sip. Wonder who that is.
Hey, who could that be? I actually know both of those people.
Do you really?
Yeah, Mr. Misto is a friend. Hey, Jacob.
Oh, very cool. All right,
I have
guys.
a following of 2, and they've shown up tonight. Thank you, guys.
Well, I did say last night, tonight's bring a friend, and you brought 2, so
awesome.
That's a win. Yeah.
That's more than I've ever had at one of my comedy shows, so that's perfect.
Here, I'll give you a sound you're familiar with.
Usually it's just in my head.
That's the big hook. The big stage hook. Get him out of here. Get him out of here, you bum. No, I'm just kidding. You're hilarious, Jimmy. I love you.
I have nightmares about the hook.
Hey. It's a family show, Jimmy. All right. So, all right. That's the Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. And please get involved if you wouldn't mind. Join the Discord, and we'll see what the hell's going to happen to the rest of the show, because I don't know. I mean, the fact that we're still connected is already a miracle to me. So God only knows. But that was the Discord question of the week. Oops.
Ducky Danger.
Yeah, Don and I and Sheldon met Chucky and his wife at a conference in the area here, and just a marvelous guy. And he and Pam showed up for that. That was really cool. So we sat and had dinner with him and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. We had a blast with Chucky. So thank you, Chucky, for all your work, and you better be going to Phenomicon, brother. Just saying. And to any of you in September of this year, if you can, go to Phenomicon. It's in Vernal, Utah. It's September 4th through the 7th, I think. It's the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So it's 4 days. It's in Vernal, Utah. Definitely get your tickets. The VIPs are all sold out, believe it or not. It's just becoming a bigger and bigger conference every year. But Don and I will be there for sure. Maybe Sheldon and, even Jimmy, if we can drag him over there.
Absolutely. I've never been to Utah, and I was just telling my girlfriend that we need to do a trip somewhere out in that area, because I just love that area in general. I've never been. I'd love to go.
all the dinosaur fossil fields are like when Don and I go, we drive down and it's a 14-hour drive, which is a long time for Don and I to sit in the car, but we do it and we have a good time. It goes really pretty quickly, but you drive through these ancient seafloors, which are now mountains, and just the colors and the vividness of the scenery is just brilliant. Now, I will say at last year's conference, Vernal, Utah is in the Uinta Basin, which is where Skinwalker Ranch is. And that whole area is chock full of weirdness. Lots of UFO activity, lots of spiritual activity. And when you go there, you can feel it. I mean, it's just that place is alive. Now, last year at the conference, people were in a room in one of the breakout sessions, and somebody actually filmed an orb UFO coming by the windows. And no joke. I mean, everybody was talking about it. All the people there saw it in that session. And there was, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 people all sitting there. And they're like, hey, look at. And they all looked out the window and one person managed to record it. And it's phenomenal. I mean, it's Phenomicon, but so tongue in cheek there. But that was an unintended bait, I guess. But it's really a neat area. I think you'd really like it.
I would love to go. And honestly, if I was going to go and make contact, why not go right there?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, it's just I mean, and the sessions are great, and the speakers are really, really phenomenal. They are just wonderful. A lot of the Expedition Bigfoot crew is there. The Skinwalker Ranch crew goes there, and it's just a blast. So it's 4 days. It's a long conference, but it's a lot of work, but it's really wonderful. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you can make it out, Jimmy. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, that does sound awesome. Like I said, I'm overdue for a trip to Utah. What's you said you go through Skinwalker Ranch and there's a field. What is the field? Because I'm so curious about that.
Well, in the area now, when Don and I were there, we met up with our two friends, which are the creators and hosts of Supernatural Station podcast, Jaron and Roman Daniels, and they brought us up to their family's property, which is just, it's a little like maybe it's not on Skinwalker Ranch, but it's in that region of the Uinta Basin. And I brought some ghost detecting equipment, and my REM pod went crazy. It just went bizarre. It just would not shut up. That's the second time that's happened to me, that it just wouldn't stop. And that place is really energetic. Did the flashlight test. Got some really great responses from some entity that was there. And it was really cool. And one of the guys got pushed. And oddly enough, this is what was interesting. After we're done, when we're done, I at the bonfire that we had, I said some prayers and some things to, kind of close it out. And then we went back to the hotel, Don and I did, and Jaron and his brother went to their hotel. And Don crashed like that. I mean, Don was running on fumes anyway, but he went out like a light bulb. He was sawing logs, and so I'm like, oh, I'll get to sleep too. So I got ready for bed, and I laid down. And I'm laying on my side, got my back, Don's in the next bed. Not the same bed. We don't share a bed. But I was just starting to relax into that almost sleep state. But I was getting real comfortable. It's like, yeah, I'm tired. I need to sleep. And suddenly something hit me in the back. Not like a smack, but like a push. And it was enough to roll me over onto my belly. And I was like, oh my God. And instantly I was pissed. Because it's always, it's like a huge thing for me if something's willing to cross that boundary. It's like, hell no, that's not okay. So I got up and just furious and, did my thing. And that was the last experience, but it was like something followed me back to the hotel, or us. And then that was it. So it was really cool experience overall, but true story.
I know I say this a lot, but that would terrify me.
Really?
Yeah. Just the pushing, especially like in that lucid between sleep and awake state. I think that's when I'm most vulnerable to just being like, ah.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I was really, I wasn't afraid at all, though. I was just furious. It's like, wait, You don't get to touch me. Nobody gets to touch
You
me
know,
without my
I'm a
permission.
very cranky wake upper too, so maybe I wouldn't be angry about it.
But it's a pretty powerful experience. I mean, I've felt that before. I've been touched many times through the years. I've just had a lot of spiritual activity through my life, but that was the most forceful I've ever felt. It was like enough to, I'm laying on my side, I kind of do the body pillow thing, but there's no body pillow there. So I'm like holding onto this pillow, and then next thing you know, I was like, oh, and I was like, what? And I instantly spun, and Don's still, he's out. So I was like, well, that wasn't Don. I know that. So what did Don say the next morning? Yeah, he wasn't aware of anything. Don was just gone to the world. No, he didn't. He didn't think I was joking at all, because he Android's asking, what did Don say the next morning? Did he think you were joking?
Yeah.
And no, he didn't. I mean, he was there and saw the flashlight thing happening too. So I mean, we definitely knew. I mean, the flashlight test. Here's the thing. If you're not familiar with what the flashlight test is, when you're ghost investigating, you use like a little twist on off mag light, and it's there's a lot of skepticism attached to it, because it's like, well, atmospheric conditions could be causing contact to come and go, or temperature variations or anything. But and that can be true. So if it's just doing things on its own, it could be atmospheric. But when on cue, you repeatedly get indications right in concert with yes/no questions you're asking at the exact time, which was what was happening that night. I mean, that is kind of the litmus test for whether or not you might be getting real communication or not. Now, that on top of the REM pod, on top of, just feeling the chills that we were feeling when that energy is present. And, anybody that's been in one of those situations where it's just like your skin just starts prickling because the energy changes so much. And that's what it was like there. It was just very powerful. So really cool experience. But there's a website that has a map with various paranormal stories. It's called Liminal Earth. Yeah, I've looked at that. People have posted stories from their locations. Yeah, I had that open on one of my browser windows forever, and I've checked out a bunch of them. And, it's a great way to, and I don't know how updated it is or how well it's updated, but it was really good. I loved that site. And it's, if you're looking to do investigations in like open air spots, or even, what towns there's a lot of activity going in, I mean, that's a great resource. And what locations, surprisingly, a lot of times when you're looking to investigate places, sometimes the most popular places are not nearly as interesting as the little house where they have activity. Like, for instance, this last year, Don and I met up with Charles Howard Johnson, who's a paranormal investigator you guys are familiar with from the shows. But and we investigated at St. Ignatius, which is a decommissioned hospital. It's just an empty building basically. And I did a live stream from there while we were there, and you can see how creepy that place is. It really is creepy. But while we were there over the course of 2 days. But we spent the night at this, it's basically an Airbnb that was haunted in the area. And I'm here to tell you, we got way more activity in that little Airbnb than anything that happened at St. Ignatius. And I think, honestly, and I talked to Hometown Ghost Stories about this too, but when they were on, but I think the more traffic a place gets, the more played out the activity gets. I imagine that it takes energy to manifest activity. And if there's people coming through every night for weeks and weeks and weeks, I mean, it's either they just get unresponsive. It's like, oh yeah, here comes the circus cruise again, and they just don't feel like interacting or whatever. But this house, for the most part, was sitting empty. And so maybe whatever was there was like, whew, there's somebody here. Okay, cool. And then it just goes. You know what I mean, Jimmy?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Especially like I think I've talked to you about this before, but they probably get sick of answering the same question. So if you're coming up with anything
Yes.
new, they're probably like, oh yeah.
What's your shoe size? Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never been asked that one before. So I don't know. It's very cool though. But I don't know. I could be wrong in that. I mean, there's some locations and they mentioned Where did they mention Waverly Hills or whatever? That was just off the charts. That they just a lot of people have activity there constantly. So maybe it just has to do with the location as well. But anyway, very cool. And thank you to everybody who had participated in the question of the week. What are we going to do next, Jimmy? Oh, I got articles. Are you ready to peruse some articles, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah.
It's already 8:13. I guess we should probably go to the cryptids. What do you say to that?
Cryptid away.
I might have to make a soundbite out of that. Cryptid away.
Solid transition noise.
In the magic of broadcasting. All right, let's get to some cryptids, folks. We're going to start out with some Sasquatch Chronicles. I got two articles here, or two listener emails that were submitted to Wes over at SasquatchChronicles.com. Again, special thanks to Wes for letting us use this. I really appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, check out Sasquatch Chronicles blog if you're not already. There's just so much more than just the Sasquatch Chronicles podcast. He's got articles and links to other shows and things. And he sometimes posts our links too, which is extra cool. So, all right, let's get to it. This is Sasquatch Chronicles. This is from an email dated February 29th. So let's dive into this. It says, weird sounds on the family property. A listener writes, this past weekend, I was night hunting with a thermal AR and was playing predator calls to attract coyotes and had multiple howls responding to my calls. But I was able to capture one, and I think it's a coyote, but I'm not certain. There are 4 howls in the recording I got. I cleaned it up as best as I could on my phone. I had been screen recording a sound analyzer and had it recording my phone microphone as well. Attached are the original and the cleaned up version. This was recorded in Mason County, Michigan. Do you know where that is, Jimmy?
Hey, yes, I do.
All right. About 10 miles north of Walhalla on my family's property. Is that Upper Peninsula or Lower?
Actually, now I'm thinking. I don't actually. Hold on, let me see. Mason County, Michigan. Let's see. I think it's Lower. Oh, the noise again.
All right. So Mason County, Michigan. All right.
Oh, yeah, that's Lower. Yep. That's,
it is Lower.
Here, actually, I can show you. Yeah, right on the tattoo. It's about right there, I believe. Yep, right on the side. Yep.
Oh, it is? It's on the lake?
Oh, I'm not even showing you the tattoo. Yep, right there. This is why I got it. Best $99 ever spent. Yep.
Oh, let me put you
right
on.
There.
Let me do it again. Do it again, Jimmy. I got you on full screen now.
Okay.
Nobody, pull back a little bit. There you go.
Right about there. If we're coming up the side, it's like right before that dip up by Muskegon.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, there you go. All right, now we know where it is. It says, never saw what made it. It was over the hill and out of sight from the deer blind I was in. Only other thing weird that has happened was about 7 years ago, my grandmother and me got growled at by something that we could feel in our chest. Oh, I know what that sounds like. Oh. Never saw anything, but whatever it was scared the hell out of us walking to the deer stand blind, or the deer blind. 50-second one is amplified, 54 is original. I'd really appreciate your inputs, and if you could edit it better than I could, I'd appreciate that. Well, good thing Wes has the link. Let's have a listen and see what this sounds like. If you got headphones, maybe put them on. I don't know what volume this is going to be. I haven't listened to it before, but let's have a listen and see what you guys think. That bar right there. Something big happened there. Oh no, I guess not. Never mind. Oh, that did sound different. Huh. Let's go back in. I want to listen to that last one again. Oh, I missed it. Sorry. That really did sound different. What'd you think of that, Jimmy?
It did. It sounded almost like a whale call.
Right. Yeah. All of them kind of did though, didn't they? Though.
Yeah, I kept wanting to go to like coyote or maybe an owl, but I got nothing for that.
Yeah, me either. That's very strange. Because it was very abrupt. It was like, you know, that last
Renee
one
Cruz
was.
said, "Cry the Banshees." Yeah, that is what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, and granted, it's from a cell phone microphone, which is, I mean, they're very live microphones. They're not really directional. They just pick up anything that it can pick up. So it's kind of why it's very live with all the atmospheric sounds and probably a lot of the echo. So it sounds really muddy, but again, that's being there. If I heard those being there, that'd be really disheartening.
Yeah, we get like a lot of coyotes down here, but you usually don't hear them alone, which was what
Right.
I noticed. That sounded like one thing.
Right. Yeah. Or like, yeah, because they usually don't they erupt in like a group, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's usually like if one starts, there's a couple behind it, and then it's just for a couple minutes, there'll be like, sounding like 10 of them, and then
Right.
our dog will start going.
Right. Well, very cool. It's a rough recording, but that last one really does sound pretty unique in comparison to the others, but very cool. All right, that's the first one. And now we're going to the next one from Sasquatch Chronicles. This is the last one. And then we're going to shift over to Phantoms and Monsters and check out those. But this one's from February 27th as well, and it's titled It's Piercing Red Eyes. Well, that's a bad start.
I love it. Let's go.
Really? Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
So what would, I mean, just imagine that you're out in the woods and then all of a sudden you see these red glowing eyes looking at you. What do you think of that?
I wouldn't be saying let's go if I were there. I love to read it from a distance though.
No, you just add the word home. Let's
Yeah, let's go home. Yeah.
All right, let's check this out. It says a listener writes, "Hi, I've been listening to your podcast for quite a while now, and I had an encounter when I was 14 years old in Tigert County, West Virginia, at my grandmother's cabin. You know where that is, Jimmy? You got a tattoo for this?
One of my cousins does. They live out there.
Hold on, let me pull down my pants. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. Anyway, let's continue. It says, it was January 2020, January 4th, 2020, and I was home alone because my parents and grandparents went into town for supplies at around 4 p.m., and the nearest town was 2 hours away. Oh, my God. Around 4:30, I went outside to let my dog out, and she started barking and growling. The weird thing is, she has never, ever barked or even whined. At this time, the sun is just setting, so I go out on the porch and look around, and I didn't see anything. And that's when the smell hit me. It smelled like a combination of wet dog, sprayed by a skunk, and bathed in their feces. So I go inside because it reeks. And I go inside and close the sliding door. About 15 minutes later, this rock goes flying into the window and shattering it. Oh, God, that's frightening. I was terrified, and I grabbed my grandma's, what does that say? Oh, 450 Marlin hunting rifle. And this gun can kill a 1,000-pound grizzly. So I walk outside and start yelling, "Who's out there?" Well, then this god-awful scream that I later found out was the Ohio howl. And then this thing stopped screaming. It came charging out of the tree line 30 yards away. And when I saw this thing, it was 8 feet tall, dark reddish brown, with piercing red eyes. I was frozen in fear, but I managed to cock the 450 Marlin, and I shot at it. And when I shot, this thing screamed like it was hurt for about 5 minutes, while it ran back into the woods. Just then, my parents pulled into the driveway, and they saw me with the 450 and were pissed because that gun was only for defensive use. Good thing it was used defensively. I fell over in tears and vomiting, explaining what I saw. My parents thought I was crazy, and they still don't believe me. The next day, I went out to the yard where I shot at it and found a pool of blood on the grass. Well, didn't you get your parents to come look at it? I mailed in the blood to a crime lab in Philadelphia, and the test results came back as unknown species, and they tested it 3 times, and they all came back the same. I believe in Bigfoot then, but now I'm a truly believer. I don't go out into the woods without a gun and bear spray now. I haven't been back there since, but the thing that surprised me was that the Tigard Valley, hundreds of Bigfoot sightings, and after those sightings, the witness dogs disappear, so that was concerning for my Labrador. I don't know. That's a bizarre story. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
I think the blood part is creepy.
I think
they've tested it 3 times and they couldn't identify it.
Yeah. I mean, generally, I don't know. I don't know how they test blood, but it seems to me, wouldn't you have to do a police report in order to just, I mean, do they just take random samples at crime labs to test them for people? Because I don't think that's what.
Blood bucket.
Found this one out on the lawn. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there already blood in this bucket? I'm sensing a lot of things in here.
But I mean, it seems a little suspect to me, because I think you would have to have police or at least some kind of law enforcement involvement in order to start submitting samples to labs. I don't think that you just go down to the FBI and say, hey, can you guys check out this fur sample for me? It's just not how it works, I don't think. Now, I'm on the outside looking in, and maybe this person didn't give all the details. So we just got a few paragraphs and a lot of questions, unfortunately. But that's the first thing I'm thinking about is like, well, why? I mean, why did it just suddenly charge? Because everything about them seems to avoid that kind of stuff unless they are severely provoked. And maybe they had been through the history of this home being there. But generally speaking, they seem to be at least mostly docile. When they encounter people, they don't generally throw rocks and smash windows and then start charging for no apparent reason. Unless there was a young one that was nearby and what was smelled was maybe the mom trying to protect the young one, and that was Big Daddy coming to draw the attention away. I don't know. I don't know. I have a million questions about that story, and I'm not saying it couldn't be legitimate, but there's a lot left to be explained.
Yeah.
For me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, good. I try to make sense. So, all right. So that is
mission achieved.
Success granted. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to Phantoms and Monsters now. I got to figure out which one we are on here. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So this is another Bigfoot report. Phantoms and Monsters, of course, is Lon Strickler's site. It's an incredible site as well. Thousands of encounter stories over there. Lots of research that Lon and his I don't know what to say, affiliates do around the country into different Fortean, subjects like Bigfoot, Dogman, the Mothman, etc. So if you go over to Phantoms and Monsters, you're going to find a whole host of things to look into. And you can even ghostly and UFO stuff is over there. But I think it's a fantastic site. Philip Blair says in Washington state, they test forest poo to identify the species, and most it's domestic dog. We do have a wolverine in the woods, though. No other state besides Alaska has any wolverine in the wild. Really? Okay, I didn't know that. I'm right next door to you in Idaho. But I don't know if we have wolverine over here or not. I guess probably not. I don't know.
I can tell you in Michigan, believe it or not, we do not have wolverines just walking around.
No?
No. Other than on the football field. Ayo! Hook me on that one. Yep, there it is.
All right. Just had to throw it out there. All right.
Yep.
Your wish is granted. All right. So also with Phantoms and Monsters, you can find out about Lon's podcast and YouTube channel, which is called Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So if you're not already subscribed over there, go check it out. And SasquatchChronicles.com or Sasquatch Chronicles on YouTube. You'll find a lot of Wes's episodes over there from his podcast. So great. And the confessionals and the Paranormal Portal. Hell, wherever you go, just hit subscribe. Help us all out. All right. So we're going to go to the first story here. This is from Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. Phantomsandmonsters.com. Central Illinois Bigfoot. We were stalked by the Salt Creek Monster. Illinois even. Wow. Yeah, Illinois is right next to Ohio, so that's, hell, everywhere's got Bigfoot though. Right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I hear a lot in the UP, but actually in the UP, there are a ton of Dogman stories. Dogman's huge up there.
Yeah, honestly, I'd love to talk to some of those people. Have them on the show and hear their experiences firsthand. It's just, there's a lot of people that experience Bigfoot, but it's harder to get people that have experienced Dogman stuff. I don't know why, because there's a lot of reports out there. I don't think there's as many Dogman encounters as there are Bigfoot encounters, but still, it's like more people seem to be okay talking about Bigfoot more so than Dogman. And maybe it's because Bigfoot is more mainstream than Dogman. And so it's just, you hear it come up in conversation, or you're just driving down the street and you see the Bigfoot stickers on all these cars. It's like, they just jump out of everywhere up here. It's like, oh, they got a Bigfoot sticker. They got a Bigfoot sticker. So when I'm at at a store and I see someone get out of those cars, I'm like, hey, I like your sticker. Have you had any experiences? And generally speaking, it's no. I just think I think they're out there, but I have not any experience. But every once in a while, someone will just say, I had this experience, and it's one thing to have a sidewalk conversation, but I haven't talked him into coming on the show. So I'm working on. I'm going to do some man on the street stuff this next year. I might just walk around, just at different places, and say, with a sign. The sandwich board, free hugs. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Imagine
honk if you love Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's probably like Bigfoot's the gateway to Dogman conversations. If you're cool with Bigfoot conversations, we'll take the next step.
We can spiderweb from there, yeah, and then get into aliens. A lot of UFO stuff up here too, though. That's where I saw. That's where I saw the saucer up in this area. It's really a lot of claims up here. So, all right, let's get to this Salt Creek Monster and find out what's going on. It says 2 Central Illinois boys were night fishing in Salt Creek, and their mom drives to the bridge to pick them up, and the boys decide to go home on their own. And that's when the Salt Creek Monster emerges. Oof. Best laid plans of mice and men, Jimmy. All right. It says, I received the following account. I live near Lincoln, Illinois, and Lincoln is located in central Illinois. It's 30 miles from the state capital, Springfield, and 35 miles each from Bloomington, Normal, Peoria, and Decatur. It has a population of about 12,000, and I'm now 53 years old, but when I was a little boy, me and my family had an encounter with the Salt Creek Monster. At the time, we lived out in the country less than a quarter of a mile from Salt Creek, and this was 2 miles outside an extremely small village in Kenny, Illinois. My mom witnessed it cross the road right before the bridge that crossed Salt Creek. My brothers had been down there night fishing and placing out night lines when Mom drove down to the bridge to get the boys and told them to get back to the house. It was almost 10 p.m. and they weren't going to be allowed to stay out there all night. One of my brothers told my mom they'd seen Bigfoot. Her, not believing them, told them, well, you 2 boys get in the car and come on home. They told her they had to gather up their fishing poles and gear and to please wait while they got it, and they could walk back up to the house. Well, she agreed and waited while they did that, and they started back down the road, and one of my brothers was on foot and one on his bike. As they took off, she drove on towards the bridge to turn around on a little gravel drive right before the bridge. She had her driver's side window down, and as she got to the drive, a horrible smell of garbage mixed with rotten sewage water, and practically smacked her in the face through the window. In the headlights, a 6-foot-tall man-shaped thing crossed the headlights from one side of the road to the other. It was light gray and completely hair covered. It looked directly at the car as it passed by, and she said she'll never forget those glowing yellow eyes. She said she had the hair on her arms, neck, and head all stood on end. And she's never felt that scared since. She turned into the drive on the right side of the road and slammed the gear shift into reverse quickly, doing a 3-point turn to go back the way away from the bridge and back up the road to the house. As she drove toward the house, this thing was running down the road, and it was a full moon that night. The boys had been looking back as they went to see where Mom was, and they saw this huge, muscular, man-shaped thing running in their direction. Oh, God, those poor kids. They later said they looked back because this thing must have weighed a lot, because they felt it running on the paved county road before they saw it. My brother, who was on foot, was scared so bad he passed my other brother on his bicycle, running. My mom freaked out because it looked like it was going after the boys. She swerved over at the creature and it jumped off the right side of the road, down 15 feet into the deep ditch, and let out a blood-curdling scream. Everyone got back up to the house quickly, got in the house, and locked all the doors and windows. They later said they could hear it walking around the house. It was thudding into the ground and breathing loudly as it went by the windows. My sister and her best friend were sleeping out in a camper that fit into the bed of a pickup truck, and they heard something walk up to the camper and circle it 5 to 6 times. They could hear deep, heavy breathing, and the dog that was scared of nothing under the truck whining. It slapped the side of the camper and rattled the doorknob. The girls stayed completely still and even held their breath. They were trying to be so quiet after what seemed like forever, but in reality was probably 30 to 40 seconds. And they finally heard whatever it was. They never looked out any window to see. Something thud off in the direction of Salt Creek. Sometime later, they heard something off in the distance in the same direction. They heard the thing that only moments before had been circling their camper. And that's when it let out an ungodly, loud, screeching howl that none of us will ever forget. Good God. What do you think, Jimmy?
I think if it looked even remotely like it was chasing the kids, I'd probably lose my composure. Then again, I don't have kids, so I might just run the opposite direction. I don't know.
Don't worry, I can make more.
Hey, that's the fun is making them.
There's more where that came from. Go ahead.
We'll remember you.
They're taking it for the team. Let's go. Operation Human Shield. That's terrible. The thing is again, in all fairness, even from the last story, while it seems like kind of out there that it would be so aggressive. However, the First Nations have a lot of, not a lot, but there's several tribes that have histories of apparently having these things come into their villages and take women and children and never to be seen again. So it's not without precedence that they could maybe feed on people, at least maybe in some dire circumstances, who knows? It's hard to say, but that's crazy.
That is crazy. And I mean, I guess, yeah, that would make sense too. Cause I know like we're going through dog training right now and they were telling us that the reason our dog would sometimes get angry at like, children or smaller people would be because he's like, oh yeah, I can take them. So you got to imagine they're going for food.
Right.
They're going for smaller people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I got to give the mom credit for swerving at it and then it just leaped. And it must have been pissed. It must have been like, God. Yeah. I'm following you home, but still. The other part that's kind of mind-numbing is that obviously these things are so incredibly powerful, just beyond the scope of our imagination, just the strength alone to twist trees, big trees, branches into pretzels and push over trees. They would have no trouble just, pulling out a wall in your home, even if it's a well-constructed home. I mean, it's with that kind of strength. They must not know it though, or I don't know why, or they're just trying to intimidate. Maybe it's a form of fun for them. It's like, hey, watch the people run, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me wonder though, because literally, if it was for food, they could just, you know, tear apart a truck camper with no trouble, or you know, pull off a door into a house and just go in and do whatever they want. Unless you got, you know, some kind of firearms, you're going to be at its mercy, you know.
Yeah, but where's the thrill of the hunt in that?
Right. Well, yeah. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's just what it is. Maybe it's just entertainment, you know.
Yeah.
Because again, you know, we've had several guests on the YouTube show as well through the years, and one of the first big names I ever had on the show was a guy named Jim Bear King. He was one of the original Bigfoot outlaws and just a wonderful guy. And he came on my show when it was much smaller and just was, you know, he just came on. He came on like 3 times. It was wonderful to have him on. But he, you know, I asked him because he grew up around these things and then spent most of his adult life, you know, pursuing them and, you know, just trying to understand them. And he had several encounters through his years. But I was like, why, you know, for an animal that generally, or a being that generally chooses our absence and goes out to extensive measures to avoid us, why would it just walk in front of a car on a road? You know, why wouldn't it just hunker down and wait for the car to go by? Because when you're out in the country, you can hear a car coming 1.5 miles away.
Absolutely.
It's not going to surprise you. I mean, even as a person with our mediocre hearing, but I assume these things probably hear so much better than we do. So, and he said, you know, I believe it's like they're counting coup. You know, they just, it's more of the adolescent ones or, you know, the young adults that are trying to prove themselves. So they do it because it has to be intentional. There's no way a car just snuck up on them. No way. So
yeah, this is their rite of passage. Go touch the butt. Go do it.
I touched the butt. Go touch the butt. Finding Nemo, ladies and gentlemen, is the reference. Jimmy's not being a perv. He's quoting Finding Nemo.
Thanks for spelling that out. I don't even question my references anymore, so I appreciate you giving them context.
I just got to put it out there just for someone. Man, you got to get that guy off this show. No, that's great. But touch the butt. It just comes off your tongue like no problem. I wouldn't even have thought of that. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's the teenagers just you know, coming of age and trying to prove their bravery. Or it's like, hold my beer, watch this. You know, You never know. I don't know. But at any rate, it's a curiosity to me. I got to look at the time. 8:41. We got time, Jimmy. There's another one.
Nice.
Well, in that case, let's dive into another one from Phantoms and Monsters. And this one is, actually, this one should be pretty cool. This is from Sunday, February 18th, 2024. Former U.S. Army combat veteran describes his Bigfoot encounters in Kansas. Oof. All right, let's see what this one's all about. A former U.S. Army combat veteran describes his 2 sightings and encounters with a Bigfoot. The last incident has resulted in nightmares and fear more than what he experienced in combat. I mean, I can't imagine something much that could be terrifying, more terrifying than being shot at or being in a position where you may have to shoot at someone. I just can't imagine anything more terrifying. But for the people that face that, even to compare that with these encounters with these creatures as being so much more terrifying, it's really cooks my bacon, you know?
Yeah, I'm hoping for some kind of combined experience in this article.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. It says, I'm a retired federal law enforcement officer, and I did 18 years in the U.S. Army as an MP before cancer forced me out. Oh, poor guy. Well, I still work for the Department of Defense, and I would like to share 2 short stories. I was one of those unlucky ones who, while serving in Kansas, had the misfortune of seeing one of these creatures decide to enter the perimeter of our military base. It made sounds that I can't even describe. Guttural growling and bone-rattling roars and screams as it went over a 15-foot fence. We had more than one occurrence of this type of behavior at the base, and were always ordered to ignore it and never document anything about it, except for a verbal report to the chain of command, but nothing more. When I was stationed there, we had a private fresh from basic that was on duty and witnessed a display at the perimeter fence. The private freaked out and abandoned his post. The next morning, he was sent for medical evaluation, and I think the kid had a mental breakdown over what he witnessed. He never returned to our unit. If Uncle Sam didn't want anyone saying anything, that was the normal routine. I was 24 when this happened in 1994.
Involved.
He was involved. He was involved in a Bigfoot.
That's crazy.
Right?
I was just thinking we haven't heard from the ghost box in a minute. Oh my God, that's crazy.
It's just telling you they're involved, Jimmy. Wow.
Government involved.
Yeah, that's crazy. It didn't.
It's on tonight.
Government came up clearly, wonderful, and now involved. Wow.
The government is involved.
Very vocal night on the ghost box. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Let's see where it was. So where was I? This happened when I was 24 in 1994. What I saw was an 8 to 9 foot tall black with some gray around its face and on its chest. It would make these terrible noises and look straight into the CCTV cameras and then charge the fence. If nothing happened after 2 or 3 times, it would charge and go right over the fence without any effort at all. If a mobile unit appeared when it was screaming and roaring, it would throw rocks or smaller trees at the fence, or sometimes go over the fence towards the vehicle. Wow, did not like that fence. The only time I ever saw it leave without making a big show was once a helicopter buzzed the area with a spotlight, and that thing hightailed it back into the trees, and did not return. A big bright light from the sky makes them feel the way they make us feel. The second story was in 2018 in Kansas, south of I-70, about 30 miles from Lake Milford. I was working late and had about a 40-minute drive home on rural country roads, some paved and some gravel. The area has rolling limestone cliffs and lots of dense trees, pastures, and hayfields. It was about 10:30 p.m. on a winter evening, cold but no snow on the ground. I came around a curve on this 2-lane county road that had only a few feet on each side before the trees started. No ditches to mention. I saw what I thought was a tree extremely close to the left side of the road. Well, I had time enough for the thought to enter my mind. That's a big, tall stump. No branches. And then the eyes became visible. And I thought I was going to have heart failure. The intensity of fear and sheer terror that gripped me, I've never felt before, even in combat. As I looked at those eyes, I drifted over towards it unintentionally, and as I passed it, it reached out and it could have touched my side mirror. I immediately swerved back to my lane and looked into both side mirrors and rearview mirror, but I couldn't see it. I have nightmares of that drive home regularly now. I understand now what witnesses describe after an encounter like that. I'm a veteran with 6 deployments between Iraq and Afghanistan, and I was in some major engagements over there, and I can tell you, nothing in my life has ever affected me like that drive home. To this day, I will not drive that road after dark, and I've had that creepy feeling of being watched at my farm numerous times since that night. I have 2 cattle dogs, and I won't go outside without them close to me. I always carry a gun on me, and I have a rifle or shotgun in my truck. Honestly, I don't think it would matter if this being decided to have at a human. It's game over. Wow. I mean, it was just standing there, of all things. And that was enough of a shock for this guy. Crazy, huh?
Yeah, I think his background is what makes it terrifying for me, is that he's gone through all of this and this is what's getting him shaken.
Right. It didn't act aggressively or anything, although it may have followed him home. Might have followed him home.
A little stalkery.
You know, that's a thread that comes up over and over and over in Bigfoot stuff and Dogman stuff, is they seem to have an incredible ability to, after they see someone, if they're interested in them, they can find where they live. And that might seem maybe hard to believe, but think about the stories that I think everybody's heard of, like, you know, the dog that went missing on the East Coast and the family moved to the West Coast, and 3 months later, in comes their haggard dog up to the driveway. or the kitty that made it across the country somehow.
Yeah.
And how
Homeward
could that
bound.
be? Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
these are actual stories where people have no idea how their pet did it, crossing mountain ranges, going through, national parks, everything, just to get back to their home, which is with their family. And it's not like they're following a scent. So there's got to be something else, whether, some other cognition that these animals have, that if they're cued onto someone, they will find you. And I don't know. I mean, so is it a big leap to think that, these higher functioning, I know dogs and cats are wonderful and incredibly intelligent and smart, but we're talking about something that maybe rivals our intelligence, but has these natural abilities as well. It's like, wow, crazy, right, Jimmy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary, but it's also cool at the same time.
Right. Yeah. It's scary cool. It's
Yeah.
it's school.
School.
All right. I tried to learn to read hieroglyphics. Wow, Maggie. That's pretty cool. That's not your normal reading stuff. You going to go over and start combing tombs, Maggie? I think that'd be wonderful to be able to read hieroglyphics, because it'd be interesting to see how it's deciphered. That's cool. Dogman followed government investigators home from Skinwalker Ranch to the East Coast. How? Yeah, how? That doesn't, it seems like an impossible feat. But again, dogs and cats have done it. How?
Yeah.
There's no way they followed an interstate scent trail.
That's crazy. Have you seen there's videos, or there's an article I just read. It was like crows can lock on. Crows are always doing weird stuff where they can like follow people and recognize stuff. But there was one that like latched on to a little girl that was feeding it, and it like she dropped something one day, and it brought it all the way back to her house, which is just wild.
Oh, neat. Wow.
Yeah, something. I think it was something like something that she liked. She dropped it somewhere, and the crow came up and just literally dropped it at her house.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. I hadn't heard that one. I'd love to see that if you ever stumble on that link.
Yeah.
Yeah, send it to me.
Put that in the chat.
Send it to me. Yeah, those are fantastic stories. All right, so that's that one. I think we got time for one more. And this is here's the dog man for you. Red-eyed upright canine encountered in Wise River, Montana. Montana's right next door to me too, Jimmy. Oof. Yeah, it's crawling with stuff up here. This is from Sunday, February 25th, 2024. We don't get a lot of Dogman stories here, although I guess I haven't really combed through Phantoms and Monsters to pull up many of them, but I like Dogman stories. So we got a Dogman story tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up. Brother Crow watches over us. You're right, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, email me, please. I got to get you a T-shirt. I don't know where to send it to or what size. If you emailed me, I don't know where it is. So please email me. I'm so glad to see you. But you won, and I wanna get one out in the mail to you. So please email me, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, or message me directly on Discord or however you want to reach out to me. But yeah, I'm glad to see your name. Jimmy, you want to do shout outs before we start this one? If you want to shout out, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, on the YouTube chat. I'm going to look at look at Twitch quick, because I want to see if anybody's popped in from Twitch. We hit 70 followers on Twitch, which is cool. And it looks like just me and Gypsy are over there. Lucky Gypsy, of course, is one of our chatters.
Yeah, am I just shouting anybody out?
Anybody you see on the participants list on YouTube. So when you click on the chat, there's the 3 dots up in the corner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you would, please.
We've got, let's see, we got Android Paranormal, shout out, Barbara Mora, David Cipriano, don't know him, Deb Varner, Elaine Clifford, Flyer Tuck, love the name, Grumpy Owl, Jay Misto, I know him too, goes by Jackham, John LaBella, John Stevenson, John Timpreen, a lot of Johns.
Yep.
MCAT Paranormal Research, Maggie M10, I see you all the time. Hello, Maggie. Marcus Aurelius, Misfire Jack, Philip Blair, Rachel Gets It Right, always getting it right, and Wonder Woman, and Wizard Moon 13.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. It's great to see you guys. And of course, there's more people here than that. Those are just the chatters. But thank you to all of you who are chatting, and thank you to all of you who are just kicking back and watching. Either way, we're happy you're here. All right, let's get to this article from Phantoms and Monsters dealing with the dog man. It's a nice treat for tonight. I hope it's not too scary. All right, it says a Wise River, Montana resident encounters a 7+ foot tall, red-eyed, upright canine/dog man cryptid while outside his home one night, late night in July 2015. I just can't imagine what that would be, to just go outside your home and there's something 7.5 feet tall and it looks like a werewolf. Oh my God.
Back inside for me.
I mean, there'd just be a fudge trail from, there
literally
back into the house from me. I'd be fudge striping all the way. Yeah. Horrible, horrible thing. I can't imagine. Lon says, this following account was recently forwarded to me. This incident occurred along the Wise River in Montana. The actual address, wow, they give the address, is 61720 Mount Highway 43, Wise River, Montana, 59762. So,
just in case you didn't believe this one.
Stop by if you're in the area. Jeez. I lived alone in this remote location, and we don't have any cable, so the only option is satellite TV. Well, it was a humid summer night in July 2015 at around 11:30 p.m., and the TV was acting up, so I needed to go out and readjust the satellite like usual. I took a flashlight and a gun with me. When I went outside, it was unusually quiet. I also purchased an AR due to other sightings I've had, but they weren't credible enough to chalk it up as a dog man. It was so silent. It was unnerving. I brushed the thought off and went to the dish, which is in the corner of my yard, and I went to work, making sure all the wires were all right and pointing it to a different angle. And suddenly, I heard a small snap of a stick to my left and turned the flashlight in the direction, and I saw a creature standing there. I got a good look at it. What seemed like an eternity, but was only about 10 seconds. I slowly backed off and ran back to the house and locked all the doors and windows. The creature was unlike anything I had ever seen before. When I shone the light on it, the first thing I saw was the head. It has cropped ears that point upwards. Its snout was narrower than a bear's and longer, and I could make out large teeth protruding from the jaw. Oh, God. Its eyes were a deep red shade that seemed to reflect the light that I was pointing at it. The body was muscular and huge. It had long arms that appeared to be longer than its legs, broad shoulders that tapered into a skinnier waist, and it was slightly crouched over when I saw it, with one hand wrapped around a small tree. I could make out the legs, which looked similar to a dog's legs. They had the obvious hocks. Even with the crouch position, it was about my height, which is 6 feet. Standing up to full height, this creature could easily be 7.5 feet tall. The fur was black and thicker around the neck and chest, and the bottom half significantly less so. I don't know if it was aggressive or not. What I know is I had a feeling of dread, unlike anything I've ever experienced. Was it just observing me or stalking me? For a creature this large, it was deceivingly silent. It got within 15 yards of me without me noticing. All I knew was I needed to get out of there and not find out. I don't live on the property anymore, but after that event, I never had another face-to-face encounter, but I would hear sounds in the woods that I couldn't explain. They'd start off relatively quiet and work their way up to furious howls/screams, and then back down to quiet again. I don't know if this was the same thing because it could be local wildlife. So I'm going to probably just go with the same thing. I don't know. I just can't think of a creepier thing to be like out fixing a dish in the night. With a flashlight, you hear a twig snap and you turn, flash the light, and there's a 7.5 foot dog man. God. Ugh.
This is why you don't have satellite.
Yeah. The moral is to get cable. I don't know, man. That's terrible. That is horrible. That's a horribly scary story. And nothing bad happened really, but I mean, it was just screwing with that guy. I mean, it had to have been.
Maybe that's what took out the dish too.
Yeah, it knew how to get him outside. It just goes and tweaks the dish a little bit and then sits back and waits.
No more American Idol for you.
Yeah. There you go. Wow. Well, I tell you what, brother, it's been an adventure. We made it. We made it through the 2-hour show already.
Yeah, it's 11:58 over here. Dang, I didn't even notice that.
I know, right? Time flies when you're in the portal. Weird night though. Weird night. The ghost box.
Yeah.
The ghost radar has been actually surprisingly active tonight. Not a lot of presences, although before we went live, the radar did show something was standing next to me. Okay. And again, I don't want to propagate the idea that whatever appears on there is really a spirit. I don't know. What it is it's using a magnetometer. It's detecting EM fluctuation, and it's painting it in a circular radar, which is, let me move my mouse over. You'll see it. That what I'm circling, that's the radar. It showed a dot like right here, which is, the dot is actually my computer tower, which is just on my left side down by my leg. So it was somewhere like right next to me. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any chills or anything. So, but as active as the word part of that program has been, and seemingly relevant, that's pretty interesting. And then we had the weird dropout. Zoom dropped out. I closed the program and it launched itself again somehow. I don't know how to explain that. And then Discord had disappeared as well. So only those though. It didn't knock out the entire connection. I did knock out my YouTube back end, the dashboard that I have. It knocked that out, so that's frozen, and the chat froze there. But I don't know, it's been a strange night. But a good night, right, Jimmy?
Absolutely, yeah. What's the official readback on the ghost box? It was government, clearly, wonderful.
And then involved was the last one.
Okay.
And it apparently did detect 2 spirits within 25 yards at 8:32 p.m., which is not too long ago. It didn't make that hissing noise. When it's a really powerful EM fluctuation, then it'll make that sound, which just about makes you poop yourself.
I'm so happy I don't have that on my end. I'm home alone right now. I have no dog with me.
Oh, okay.
Zero protection whatsoever.
I gotcha. Well, apparently the missus is watching as well, so.
Yeah, she's out there right now, I think.
Yep, she's watching.
Yeah, she's watching me get dragged away. She's not here to do anything about it either.
Hi, Michaela. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, and spread the love. Let all the people know. All right, so Jimmy, any final words, brother?
As always, thank you for having me. I had a blast as usual, and Michaela, if you're watching, please don't get mad at me for being awake past my bedtime.
Did you do your chores, Jimmy?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, you're in good shape then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you all for being here and joining us. Sweet UFO dreams, Renee says. Android says, have a good evening, everyone. Barbara Moore says, thanks, gents. And Juno says, right, it gets Rachel. Well, there you go. Wonder Woman was in the shower. Hey, all right, it's a family show. Shouldn't have your laptop in the shower, just saying. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. Cool Hand, time to return to the shadows. Thank you, Cool Hand. Good to see you. Thanks for checking out the show. And thank you all for being here. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Now, Wednesday should be a live show. However, Friday and Saturday next week, I'm not going to be able, or this coming week, I'm not going to be doing any live shows. I got to be out of town, and I got business to attend to. So, unfortunately, real life happens. But so Wednesday coming up, we'll do a live show. And then the following Wednesday, we'll start out and do all 3 shows that week, of course, and then on. But just to let you know that the weekend, or the show's dated, let me just pull up my calendar. The 8th and the 9th will not be happening. I'm just not going to be here to do them. So just so you know, anyway, that's it for us tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Jimmy, stick around. I'll talk to you in a minute, but we're going to roll the credits. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.